If you teach my daughter to speak again, I'll give you everything I own. The billionaire's voice thundered through the sterile hospital room, his eyes burning with tears. Doctors froze. Nurses gasped. His little girl clutched her teddy. Bearing silence. And in the corner, a man in worn overalls holding a mop suddenly stopped because he knew he was the only one who could dot. It was a stormy night. But inside the hospital, the storm was greater, a storm of heartbreak. For 2 years, the CEO's daughter had not spoken a word. She had survived an accident, but her voice, her laughter, her innocence had been stolen by trauma. The CEO had done everything. He flew in the best doctors. He paid for the most advanced therapies. He spared no expense because money was no object, but love was the only currency he truly cared about. Yet every time he looked into her tearful eyes, silent and afraid, it cut him deeper than any business loss ever could. That night, when his daughter turned her face away from him, unable to say even daddy, he broke. On his knees, his voice shaken, he cried out to the room, to the doctors, to the nurses, to the heavens themselves, whoever brings her voice back. I'll give you everything. Asterisk. The words hung in the air like thunder, but no one moved. Doctors exchanged hopeless looks. Specialists shook their heads. And then, from the far side of the room, a mop squeaked against the tiles. The janitor, no. One looked at him. No one ever did. He was the man who cleaned up the messes, who swept the halls while the wealthy walked past without seeing. His uniform was faded, his boots scuffed, his hands roughened by years of labor, but inside his chest, hidden from the world, lived a truth no one knew. He was once a brilliant speech therapist. Before tragedy stole everything from him, before he lost his own daughter. He had been a man who gave children their voices back, and now, with the CEO's desperate cry echoing in the air, he felt his heart pounding. He could ignore it. He could stay invisible. But when he saw the little girl, clutching her teddy bear with trembling hands, something inside him whispered, "Not this time." He set down his mop, walked to her bedside, and sat quietly. The room fell silent, the doctors glaring in disbelief. The CEO turned sharply, his face filled with anger, until he saw what the janitor was doing. He pulled a small toy from his pocket, a wooden whistle. He placed it gently on the tray and whispered, not loudly, but with warmth, "Do you remember how to make it sing?" The girl's eyes flickered. Her lips parted. No sound came. But her tiny hand reached toward it. It was the first sign. The tiniest crack in the wall of silence. Her father's breath caught. The nurses leaned closer. The janitor's eyes softened. He knew this moment. He had walked this road before. And it had begun. Asterisk. For weeks, the janitor returned, not as a worker, but as a silent teacher. He brought bubbles to blow. He sang simple melodies. He tapped rhythms on the table and waited until the girl tapped them back. He made her laugh without words until laughter itself became the bridge to sound. The CEO watched from the doorway, night after night. He saw his daughter's face light up again. He saw the janitor's patience, his gentleness, his quiet strength. And one morning, as the sun rose and painted the room in gold, the impossible happened. The little girl turned her head, looked at her father, and whispered, trembling but clear, "Daddy?" The sound was broken, fragile, but it was her voice. After 2 years of silence, it was back. The billionaire CEO, a man who commanded empires, dropped to his knees and sobbed into his daughter's arms. He turned to the janitor, his voice raw. "You saved her. You gave me my daughter back. Take everything, my fortune, my company, my life. It's all yours." But the janitor shook his head. His eyes were wet, but his voice steady. "I don't need your fortune. I just needed to save her." Because I couldn't save mine. The CEO froze. The truth hit him like a thunderclap. This man wasn't just helping his daughter. He was healing his own broken heart through her. The next day, the CEO announced something the world never expected. He founded a global organization, Free Therapy, and cared for every child who had lost their voice. At its heart, standing quietly in the background with a mop still in his hand, was the janitor. No cameras, no spotlight, just silent dignity. The world saw him as a janitor, but that little girl saw him as her savior. The CEO learned that night that wealth could buy many things, but not love, not hope, and not the silent strength of a broken man who chose to rise again. And as his daughter's laughter filled the halls once more, he realized the greatest fortune he could ever own was gratitude.